Alright, alright, getting right into the video. I'm going to go over a few key points and some tips on how to get out of bronze all the way to gold. I'm going to have like 5 key points. Starting off with number 1, you got to be a one-trick pony. I mean, you don't have to be a one-trick pony, but it would really help if you just made one single champion. It's really easy to climb the ladder, gold ranked and below. It doesn't really matter how wide your champion pool is, not until you get to player high. I mean, anyways, I mean, as long as you're like you're mechanically good with the champion and you're comfortable with it, that's all that really matters. That's a good starting point, you know. Like for example, let's say you have a Yasuo on your team, and other than his Q, like there's no really other way of getting a knockup, which would be good for team fights. I mean, what most people would normally do is pick a champion with some knockup to help the potential team fight later on in the game. But I mean, I really wouldn't trust like one fucking person, you know? Like play to your own strengths and play always within your comfort zone. Don't play for the team comp, you know, play to yourself, your own strengths and your own whatever's inside your comfort zone. Alright, and now moving on to number 2, roles. The best role in my opinion is jungle and top lane. Jungle just because fuck, where's it at? I mean, I don't think they really, all the other roles don't really offer the same level of carry potential as these two. You know, with jungle, I mean, you're in charge of objectives like the elemental and elder dragon. I mean, they play a huge part of how the game will and can play out, you know, and Baron, which in the mid to late game can be the deciding factor to you winning or you losing. I mean, with jungle, you can focus on power farming. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can play as a jungler. I mean, power farming, ganking lanes, camping a lane, or just counter jungling. I mean, you can decide on what kind of jungler you really want to be. Whether you want to take all the kills, so you can be a huge threat and carry, or just focus on giving your kills to your teammates so they can get ahead. I mean, there's a lot of diversity in being a jungler. Now, as far as top lane goes, this role is typically a farm-focused lane. I can't exaggerate how much farm is important at low elo. Like, you'd rather go for harass or kills than farm. I mean, if you just focus on farming, eventually you're gonna scale and, you know, just get more golden experience than the enemy. Now, it's like I said before, it's a farm-focused lane where you don't have much of an impact till mid to late game, and it's probably like the easiest of all. It's like the easiest of all lanes to get ganked by the jungler, you know. So I mean, it can be a bloodbath up there. You know, it can be first bloods, easy kills for the jungler. And I mean, the main thing about top lane is to have massive pressure on the map with your teleport. Let's see, having good map awareness goes a long way in the role of top lane. I mean, with it, you can make the best of potential team fights, tower dives, contesting objectives, and split pushing, which I mean, they're all vital in this game. Now, moving on to number 3, tilting, which is, oh my god, I'm pretty sure everyone's, you know, had to deal with tilt. Now, tilt can put you on a losing streak, make you do stupid plays, put your teammates on tilt, and cause you to feed and lose a game that you probably would have won if you just accepted that, you know, you're behind. And now you gotta play from behind. Don't blame your teammates just cause. I mean, it only makes the situation worse if you flame your teammates. And if you're being flamed by your teammates, just ignore it. If the enemy is like BMing or like talking shit, just ignore that too, you know. If you respond to every little comment, toxic or otherwise, you're only holding yourself and your teammates back from winning the game. Now you gotta ask yourself, what can you possibly do to get back in the game, you know? Because believe me, no matter how fed or ahead the enemy team is, there's always a possibility of winning. There's always a possibility of them throwing their lead. It happens even in the LCS. Even in the LCS, people throw their leads, you know? It can happen. It can happen. Alright, let's see. I mean, it only works for like gold, elo, and below most of the time, you know? I mean, just because they don't know any better. You know, they get a lead, they don't know what to do with it, they end up throwing it, they lose the game, and you win, just like that. But you gotta play smart, though. I mean, your enemies can get cocky, complacent, careless, so just play safe. You gotta bait for picks, group up early, and just, oh yeah, and you also gotta play the vision game, which I'll get into later. Now, the mindset of a fed, low elo player is easily exploitable. Easily exploitable. Because of this, they get sloppy and overconfident, and before you know it, you get picks and kills left and right. I mean, now after that, if you do play safe and, you know, bait for picks, you know, play the vision game, all that, I mean, you can get an opportunity to get back into the game, to get a comeback. Now, you gotta be prepared to give up your first line of towers, because the deeper and farther they get to your side of the map, the harder it is to siege and take towers for them. And at this point, if they dive impatiently, you can exploit that, because that's what most people end up doing either way. They end up diving for some stupid reason, they end up throwing their lead, so just play defensive, you know? And I mean, you just gotta play cool and collective, you gotta have really good map awareness, and I mean, you should have what the fuck was that? You should have a chance at winning a game that you would have otherwise lost, and you wouldn't have learned anything from it, you know? Play defensive if you're from behind. Exploit their mistakes, you know, catch their squishy targets if they're out of position, and just wait for them to make a stupid mistake onto you. And that way you can it can be an even game, and hopefully you can end up winning it. Now, when it comes to like being on a huge level of tilt, this is probably like the best advice that I can give you. Just stop playing League. I mean, I don't mean to offend, like, you know, or sound mean. Like, just don't play League anymore. Like, play another game on YouTube and watch some funny videos. You know, like get yourself chuckling and all that. I mean, take a break, go for a walk, or anything, like, just to get your mind off the League. You know. And then once you collect your thoughts and you're cool again and you're ready to play, then you know you're ready to play. I'm gonna move on to number 4, which is Vision. This is probably the simplest and easiest one to do, yet it's also the most important one. Now that green wards have been removed, we're limited to the amount of wards we can place down without items, such as like Sightstone or Tracker's Knife. But now that pink wards are only 75 gold, there should be no reason as to why you shouldn't have one in your possession every time you leave base. I mean, apart from the standard wards or sweepers that you start off with at level 1, I mean, they're gonna automatically upgrade it in efficiency, you know? And when it comes to the following roles, top, mid, and bot lane, wards give you the ability to play aggressive or passive with vital information as to where and what the fuck does that say? Oh yeah, where and when not to fight. I mean, if you have good ward placement down, I mean, like I just said, like, you can play aggressive with confidence, or you can play passive, you know? Like, depends on your playstyle, really. And also, I mean, basic note, it keeps you from overextending if an enemy jungler is nearby. It also lets your teammates play with more certainty whenever they go in for trades, you know? And as far as junglers, if you're a jungler, you should be warding just as much as your support. It's really important for a jungler to provide vision, you know? It's a key thing. I mean, with proper warding comes knowledge of the enemy movements, which you can either use to play defensively or intercept their path by hiding in wait and getting an easy kill. Focus on warding for defense and use sweepers for offense. I mean, key points to ward are probably at Baron Pit, Dragon Pit, and the Tri-Bush near bot and top lane. Those are like key areas to ward every now and then, you know? Now, I'm going to be moving on to the last one, number 5, which is decision making. Alright, I'm going to come up with a few scenarios in which I've seen a lot of low elo players make mistakes in. These scenarios are based on my experience and what I've learned from bronze to plat. So the first one, don't chase enemies for long periods of time. Just don't chase them, please. The time you spent chasing can be put into something more beneficial to you and your teammates. I mean, if you chase long enough, just because the enemy is like super low and has like a sliver of health, like by the time you realize, you'll have walked into their territory and you just handed yourself over to them on a silver platter, you know? I mean, and also another thing, like if the enemy team ends up chasing like one or two of your teammates, and you're on the opposite side of the map, don't walk all the way to your fucking team. Instead, just like put pressure on the map, you know? Like push a lane. I mean, push a lane. Just create pressure. With that pressure, you can probably make a. You can use that pressure to make plays on the map later on. You know, push waves, farm up, contest drag, maybe some barons, and possibly get towers. You know, don't just waste time walking to a teammate that's probably gonna die for getting caught. Now let's see, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, I'm not saying that you should let them go either. You know. I mean, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I'm not saying to let them go either. If you know with certainty you can get the kill and buy time or escape, then go for it, right? But more often than not, it's better to focus on something else. Now moving on. Let's say you're in your lane and your enemy laner is MIA, right? You end up seeing them bot or top lane. This is what I see, even in plat sometimes. Even in plat still. Don't bother walking all the way to where your enemy laner is at, just to find out that the fight is already over, you know, and you just ended up wasting time, valuable time that you could have used pushing a wave, getting experience, gold, CS, you know, and possibly getting damage into a tower, you know. I mean, also, if you see your enemy laner getting out of lane and going somewhere, you only got like two options. You can either follow them immediately, you know, and join up with your team for the ensuing team fight, or you can just stay in your lane, notify your teammates of pings that the enemy mid laner is on their way towards them, and just push the wave immediately. Like push the wave, start attacking that tower, create some pressure, and like make your enemy mid laner want to come back. Like, oh shit, you know, this guy's taking my tower, I gotta come back. Most of the time it's like, if he ends up going down there to roam, you notify your teammates, you know, good map awareness. He'll have gone down there for nothing, you know. So what did he gain? You gotta ask yourself. All he did was just walk down there and waste time, and now he's gotta walk all the way back to lane. And what did you get out of staying in lane? You got CS, you got gold, so you got a slight lead over, you know. And you might have gotten some damage on his tower. With this, it can give you time to back, if anything, and buy items. So once you come back, you know, your wave won't be pushed on the tower, because, you know, he'll have to push his wave, the minions that are under his wave, you know. I mean, what else? Got a couple more things in here. Oh yeah, one more thing. I mean, this is really important in the late game team fights, you know. This can, one person. It only takes one person to cause you to lose a game, you know, to lose a team fight. If they end up going in, do not go in after them, alright? If they end up getting caught, do not go in after them. Just retreat to your towers, to your base, and just play defensive until they come back, you know, until they respawn. Just because they made a bad decision doesn't mean you have to join in their stupidity. Follow your gut, and if what they're about to do in any way feels like wrong to you, like, man, it kind of seems like a bad idea, just stick to your guns, man. Just stick to your guns, and don't go in and throw the game with them, you know. Now I'm gonna be closing the video with a few tips, just little tidbits. Alright, focusing on farming and objectives are way more important than kills. Fishing for kills anyways. Like, to win the game, you need to get the towers and objectives, you know. It doesn't matter how fed you are or how many kills you have. If you don't get that nexus, you don't win the game. Simple. Right? Alright, and also another thing, play to learn and not to win. Alright? Learn your own limitations and work on what needs to be worked on, you know, as a player. I mean, if you follow most of the stuff, you know, you should be able to get out of bronze at least. Definitely bronze, because that's, you know, a really bad place to be in, but yeah, man, just bronze, silver, gold, all this stuff you can easily get out of if you just make the right decisions, you know. But yeah, that'll be it. Thanks for watching.